talking about IU. IU was simply focused on your ability to work from your service-connected disability. Can you have an ability to work based upon your service-connected disabilities? Are you constantly getting fired? Are you constantly being reprimanded? Are you constantly late? Are you constantly doing something, or you don't have the physical ability to move around in the warehouse? Again, you have back problems, okay? You have migraines. You've got your migraines are so bad that you just cannot work because you're receiving those migraines on a every other week basis. So again, it's set aside for things of that nature, not specifically just for your impairment of work. Impairment of work was exclusively a criteria that needed to be discussed prior to the proposed change that's coming down the pipeline in April 2025. So it needed to be factored in your decision. Well, this is no longer is needed for 100% rating criteria.
Absolutely. Great question answered there. And one of the other last questions before we kind of close out this segment here regarding mental health proposed changes for 2025 is that, oftentimes, when veterans are applying for mental health, obviously is very sensitive issues going on, very traumatic different things, and they want to receive the compensation and first and foremost treatment that they uh, frankly deserve, right, and are entitled to there. But what kind of gets in the way sometimes, especially when they're filing claims, is regarding their rating decision and their civil liberties, right? In terms of, the right to bear arms, maintain certain employment in terms of with government agencies, different levels of access, and things of that nature. So obviously, at a mental health condition, just period, right, being rated for that, they can see that as a stigma. But definitely when you get 50%, 70%, and 100%, they start questioning how that's going to factor into their employability with government agencies for clearances and our veterans who work in law enforcement and different things like that, and our veterans that again want to exercise their civil liberties and bearing arms. So can you kind of unpack how your mental health rating may impact those areas?
Well, so first, again, in regards to your occupation, um, that's again subject to the occupation, right? But also, again, in relation to that, the veteran has all rights to withhold any medical information at all times. Okay, that's your right. However, you may or may not get the position. Again, it's typically subject to the occupation. Um, Again, I don't want to blur the lines and give you my professional opinion. But you can reach out and we can discuss. I would love to be able to speak with you in your current circumstance. However, again, also when we're talking about that as well, if they are not going to, you know, if it is not going to affect your occupation, well, is it going to affect your right to bear arms? Well, currently, that is not a factor. That is not a factor, okay? You can obviously own a weapon if you are not being deemed incompetent, okay? Incompetent. And incompetency, if the physician has not deemed you to be incompetent, you have the right to bear arms, okay? There's going to be a lot more detail in the community, but the simplistic answer is that, hey, you have the right to bear arms if you have not been considered or rated as incompetent. How do you know that you are rated or provided incompetency? Well, the VA is going to then issue a fiduciary to be able to handle your benefits, or they're going to either issue you a fiduciary, or you are then going to basically provide a fiduciary. So it's either or.
Great question answered there. And now, when we're talking about fiduciaries and when veterans are preparing, sometimes for their compensation and pension exams, um, we want to maintain the sensitivity of that, right? If they, need one, right? That is another factor, right? So,
Mm,
I guess there's kind of like a fine line of the questioning they're asking you during that exam to kind of probe whether you need one, and then you as the veteran maybe answering a question a certain way to avoid having a fiduciary. So maybe just kind of unpack that a little bit in terms of, okay, well, how do I maintain being as honest as possible,
mm,
but still, maintaining the things that are valuable to me and saying, hey, I don't want to do this. And, but I am dealing with certain things that may
mm.
require that. It's like a really fine line there, right?
Yeah, yeah. There is right. So with it being such a fine line, there's always it's never black and white, right? What I will say is this: is that um, you as the veteran, you know what you go through. So being able to convey that to the physician that you're dealing with is going to be very vital. Okay, so in relation to the incompetency and all of this, it is going to be strictly upon what your current medical ailment is and how it affects you regularly. And I can't make that determination for you because I don't know if it's affecting your family or interpersonal relationship. I don't know if it's affecting your financial ability to be able to maintain a position. I don't know if it's affecting your abilities to be able to maintain your financial affairs. I don't know if it's affecting your medication intake, so on and so forth. I don't know these things, so it's very difficult to say. So all I will say is make sure that you convey what you are dealing with, and making sure that you convey it very well.
Absolutely. Very well said there, Kenneth. We appreciate you for taking out the time in this segment to talk about the issues here. We're excited to get to our last segment here. Now, if you're on YouTube, you'll see it next week, or you can join the community and it's already available, or you can be part of the audio only experience and learn more about how we had a wonderful time serving the community this summer, how we actually have some wonderful things planned this fall to continue to serve our community. So stay tuned, prepare to compete. We're out for this segment. See you on the next one. Peace.